Hello and welcome to the Community Voice. I'm Fara Sax. February is American Heart Month, and today's interview will focus on your heart. My guest is Dr. Charlton Easton Collie Jr., practices internal medicine with Optum, and Optum provides quality preventive health care services with 8 locations and clinics throughout Miami-Dade and Broward counties. I really appreciate you coming, taking the time and to educate our folks about Optum and what you do and how you help the community. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Farah. Appreciate it.
So, and I look at Dr. Collie, I said, oh my God, he looks like someone I know. It's like he has this very familiar face, and it seems like the brand also has a really familiar feel to it, and that you really engage your patients in getting them well in preventive medicine and helping them live their full life. So tell me how it began, how you wanted to be a doctor. Did you just wake up one day and say, that's it, I grew up in New York City. You didn't grow up in New York City. And you wanted to be a doctor?
So actually, my father's a doctor. And so I guess the inspiration to help people through healthcare came from him. Initially, when I was younger, growing up in Jamaica, which is where I grew up, born in Washington, D.C., while he was doing his residency in medicine, but then moved back to Jamaica as an 8-year-old little boy. And while there, I wanted to do robotics at first, but I was scared to leave home, and I didn't want to leave Jamaica and come over to America to do robotics. So me and my father had a sit down and a chat, and he said, well, why don't you do what daddy does? We take care of people, we help people to live better lives, and we have good sleep at night helping others. So it's like, sure, why not? Let's be a doctor.
So he really taught you well. He taught you a lot of lessons.
Yes, he did.
So what kind of doctor is he?
He's a pulmonologist, pulmonary and critical care.
Oh, wow. And you're in internal medicine.
I'm internal medicine. And I was going to go on to do cardiology, but then I had 2 kids and I needed to finish with school. So I decided now it's time to get to work, and I just stayed with internal medicine.
So what brought you from Jamaica to Miami? I mean, I know what you're going to say, an airplane.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, it was a boat. No, I came in an airplane, yes.
So when did you come?
So I moved over in 2014. So I was in Jamaica from 8 to 23, did my internship after finishing the University of the West Indies in Jamaica. I did my internship in the Bahamas, and then I did my internal medicine residency in Detroit. So I went from Jamaica to the Bahamas to Detroit. And now I'm here.
And that must be so different, like just the people and
Yes.
the vibe and the
Yes.
culture.
Yes.
And what did you learn along the way with all these cultures that you were so immersed with? And you
Great
bring
question.
you bring it to your profession, which is just awesome.
I learned that there's good food everywhere.
All right, let's talk about it. Like, where's the best place? Depends on what you want to eat.
I hope you have all day.
So you like food? You're a foodie.
Oh, yes, definitely. Love food.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that plays a lot of benefit and really helps people get well. Is what you put into your body is absolutely the fuel of how you move your
100%.
engine, your body.
100%. Yeah, the way we eat has everything to do with chronic health conditions. You find that those who are very cautious about how they eat tend to be healthier than others. So sticking to your salads, sticking to your lean meats, avoiding processed foods is definitely the way to go. And as an internal medicine doctor with preventative healthcare being my focus, I think discussing dietary issues, which a lot of doctors kind of glance over, but discussing dietary issues is actually one of the pillars of preventative healthcare. So we tend to focus a lot on that when you come to the Optum office.
Absolutely. And we'll get into that a little bit, but tell me a lot about the patients that you serve right now. There's 8 locations for Optum, 4 in Miami-Dade and 4 in Broward,
Mm-hmm.
and you operate out of the Coral Springs location.
Yes.
So what do you do there, and what kind of patients do you treat?
So we see all adults from 18 to the end with a primary focus on geriatrics. That's the older population, 65 and older in particular. But we do see young adults as well. Now, focusing on the geriatric population, which being in Florida, lots of snowbirds, lots of retirees, we feel like that's definitely a good place to start to get the general population healthier, is by focusing on geriatrics. So that is our primary area, but we do see all adults from young to old.
And what are you seeing the problem that young people are dealing with right now that come into Optum for your services?
I'm seeing a lot of mental health issues. Yeah, a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, and the early onset of bad dietary habits that will eventually lead to, the diabetes and the high blood pressure down the road. So a lot of our patients in their early 20s are coming in stressed out. That's the best way to put it.
Is it because of COVID? Is it because of the expectations of jobs? What's happening? Why are you seeing people just maybe more available to talk about it because we're coming out of the COVID hibernation? Where's this triggered from? Do you think?
So COVID definitely had something to do with it, but I would be remiss if I didn't tell you it's multifactorial. I hear a lot of complaints about work, a lot of complaints about family, a lot of pressure about dating and not having someone for themselves yet, or should I have children now? Should I have children later? And then COVID made all of that worse because COVID's impacted our dating scene. It's impacted the way we work. It's impacted if we go into the office or we're working from home. Mm-hmm. So it's multifactorial, but COVID did not make things any better.
Mm. And you're seeing a lot of, you said the geriatric, the older population. What are you seeing with them? What's happening? Are they also experiencing some anxiety, depression because they're isolated, they're a little bit older?
Yes. And, we're talking about heart health this month, but the mental health component and that stress of it all is also affecting the hearts as well. So we're seeing a lot of chronic illnesses getting worse over the last 2 years. People who've had controlled diabetes, guess what? They've been locked away during COVID times. They've gained 20, 30 pounds, and now the diabetes is uncontrolled. With the diabetes now uncontrolled, we're seeing more abnormal stress tests, more abnormal EKGs. So I would say that COVID has caused a more sedentary and worsened lifestyle. It's caused people to give in to the temptation to eat the processed food, I guess, for feeling better.
Well, let me admit to you right now, I love those chips. I mean, I just, give me a bag of chips, I'm good. But realistically, it has to be in proportion.
Yes,
absolutely, what's going on. So what can people do, and what does Optum do to help provide service in treating these, both these dichotomy, these very far-reaching age gaps in between?
The number one thing we can offer at Optum is availability to your doctor. So you find that at a lot of offices, they have these hours where it's almost impossible to get through to your doctor. You're calling, you can't get a return answer. You leave a message, no one's calling you back. But we leave our doors open for communication. You will get a response to your message within the working day. We also have a 24-hour service. So even when our doors close at 5, one of our doctors is on call to answer whatever questions you may have. And we also are open on Saturdays as well. So you'll find that accessibility really sets us apart from other places because you don't know what to do. You're trying to contact your doctor. It's one of the worst feelings in the world. Is this chest pain something serious? I don't know. I need to speak to a doctor now. And what happens when someone can't speak to a doctor now? They go to the emergency room. So I think that accessibility, it really sets us apart. So
there is a real relationship. So
Absolutely.
If I would come to see you, Dr. Collie, I would have you as my attending internist.
Mm-hmm. As your primary care physician.
Okay, great. And then what would happen next? if I'm having, let's just say, whatever symptoms I'm having, I'm able to access you and come to see you within 24 hours?
Yes. Absolutely.
This is wonderful. And you have a lab?
Yes, we have a lab, so we do our blood work on site. Well, we don't have a lab for processing blood, but we draw it and we send it off for you. So you don't need to leave our office and go somewhere else for your blood to be drawn. We'll draw it there and send it off to the appropriate lab.
And I was reading some transportation?
Yes, we offer transportation for our geriatric population.
Oh, and so what insurances do you take? Do you know?
That's a great question. I know for sure we take Humana, Medicare Advantage,
Care Plus,
some
commercial insurance too. Yeah,
I'm no insurance expert by any stretch of the imagination, but we have good people in the background who take care of what insurances we take. I like to focus on medicine personally.
Absolutely, and the relationship that you have with the patients, I think, is really of paramount interest for Optum. I think the relationship between parent.
But you can say that. That's fine to say because I like to treat some of my older folk like they are my parents, or I guess grandparents.
Now, be careful. Be careful. I don't know how old you are. I'm a grandmother. Be careful. But that's really important, is that relationship. So when I would come to Optum, or if our audience is going to come for services, that we have someone that we're going to know. It's like Cheers, where it's, you know my name, you know my history.
Someone who's going to care about what happens to you, not just giving you a prescription and sending you on your way, but actually caring about the outcome, caring about you, how your labs turned out, giving you an answer, even if the labs are normal. The anxiety of waiting the whole weekend to hear the results can end you up in the emergency room, can ruin your whole weekend. So someone who cares about you can keep that in mind and say, all right, it's Friday at 5:05. Oh, I don't want to let Mrs. Smith wait all weekend worrying about what's happening here. Let me give her a call myself and tell her what's going on.
That's really important, because I remember when I was a little girl growing up in New York, we used to have, my pediatrician would come to the house with his little black bag, and there was something to be said where you have that one-on-one attention. So tell me how Optum establishes and creates those relationships with its parents
Patience.
Again.
Patience. Yeah,
God
yeah.
bless America.
Yeah. So from the moment you come in the door, you're going to be welcomed by our staff. You'll have a full 40-minute visit with your doctor as a new patient, and expect to get quite a bit of blood testing and urine and whatever else test we think is necessary. And then we have a very quick follow-up. So in a lot of offices, you go and you see your doctor today. You don't hear from them in 3 to 6 months. No. As a new patient, you're going to hear from me in about 3 to 4 days to talk about what we found on the lab results. And then if you're really healthy, sure, we'll see you in 2 to 3 months. Make sure everything is still going well. But if you're not doing so well, or if I find a surprise, I'm going to see you the very next day. So typically, that frequency of visit is increased, which helps us not only get to know each other more, but also to make sure nothing falls through the cracks.
Absolutely. I think that's just so important. So important. So let's get on, you keep patients empowered.
We sure do.
And engage in their own health.
100%.
Provide better preventive health care. Provide safe and quality care.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be an ongoing message that I keep seeing in all your literature. And I've met you, and I've met another one of your co-workers, so to speak. And there's a heart there. And I think that's really important for the audience to know about. What do you like working about? What was your favorite thing to do at Optum?
I would say my favorite thing is that I like to do what we call shared decision-making with our patients. And I find that it's a little different from how medicine is typically practiced. Generally, medicine is practiced in a paternalistic kind of a way where I'm the doctor, you're the patient, I know what's best. Here's your prescription, you need to take it. But there's a lot more that goes into someone's health than a doctor writing them a prescription. If they don't trust you, if they don't like you, they might not even fill the prescription. And then you might have prescribed one medication, but they heard about the other one. You never talked about the alternatives. You never shared in the decision-making with them. And that's especially important for some of our older patients. They'll tell you, Sonny, look, I'm 88 years old. I've been on this earth much longer than you'd have. You need to tell me what's going on. I need to have a say in what I put into my body. You're not just going to tell me what to do. So that's what I enjoy most about Optum, the fact that I have time with my patients. I get to actually have this shared decision-making with them. And that, of course, contributes to a better relationship and more trust. And they'll actually take your medicines and get better.
Absolutely. I find patients now are much more attuned. They're much more aware. They're the internet.
The information age.
It totally is. So we can do a lot of our own research before we even come to you. So I think that's really a benefit, and that really helps you to have an educated patient.
Absolutely.
So February is Heart Month. Let's talk about heart attack, heart risks, heart fixes.
Leading cause of death.
Tell me.
Yeah. So heart disease is the #1 cause of death in the United States.
Men and women?
Men and women. Men and women. And a result of the reason this happens, we were talking about before, is the years of inadequate nutrition, obesity, undetected cholesterol, undetected high blood pressure, and undetected diabetes.
Okay, undetected. What does that mean?
I'm glad you asked.
We can go on the road. We can have like a stand-up comedy. Oh, tell me, Dr. Collie, what do you really mean?
I say undetected because those three things, cholesterol, blood pressure, and diabetes, tend to be silent. So you'll have people right now walking around in Walmart, walking around at the mall. They're walking around with high blood pressure and high sugar, and they don't know it. So if you're not seeing a doctor and you don't know it's there, 5 years go by, it's still there. Now all of a sudden you have a heart attack, and that's the first time you're finding out that your cholesterol was 200, or the first time you're finding out that your blood pressure was averaging 150 over 90 all this time. So that's why it's important for you to establish care with a primary care doctor so we can look for these silent things, those big three in particular: cholesterol, high blood pressure, and diabetes, because those are the number one contributing factors to atherosclerosis, which is the underlying cause of coronary artery disease. Fancy stuff, but that's why you get heart attacks.
Absolutely. And, you hear about people just dropping and, he had an underlying, we didn't know.
We didn't know. Yeah.
We didn't know.
So come see me in the clinic early on, as opposed to seeing the emergency room doctor holding your chest, because by that time it's a little bit late. Your life has changed.
Absolutely. And what are some of the warning signs? Is it differ for men and for women? And how do we know the difference?
It does differ.
Because like you're just saying, anxiety, like for the young people you were saying, how do they know the difference between a heart attack and having anxiety attack?
Come see me so we can check out your heart. We'll get an EKG, we'll get necessary blood work, we'll check your vitals. But to talk about the warning signs, shortness of breath on exertion. Like, I just can't do what I used to do anymore. I used to be able to go up these flight of stairs in my home with no problem. I used to be able to fold the clothes after washing them, and now I'm out of breath doing these basic things. Come see me. Please, let's get this checked out right away.
Okay, so shortness of breath. What else happens?
Chest pain.
Chest pain.
Heart racing.
Heart racing.
Cold sweats. Or a common one I get too is, I just don't feel myself. You should get that checked out too. It
was interesting because I work at community newspapers where we are at right now shooting this, and one of my coworkers said, "Come, I need to talk to you for a second." And he started getting clammy, and he had like a faraway look in his eye, and I got scared, and it progressed, and he wound up having a heart attack.
Wow.
And thank God it was caught early on, and he's doing phenomenally. But it was just a very strange. Is he having anxiety? Is he stressed, or is it something really so much more? And sometimes it's very hard to differentiate. But if you feel that something is wrong, something is wrong.
Yes.
Don't wait.
And I would say, that's why the doctor is important, to help you differentiate. Is it anxiety or is it a heart issue? That's our job. Come to us. Let us help you with that differentiation.
So if need be, once we come to Optum, you will refer out to other doctors that are in specialty of whatever is going on.
Absolutely. Now, I can talk for the doctors in my office that all of us are very adept at handling a wide range of medical issues, from heart disease to kidney disease to lung disease. But absolutely, if you need a specialist, we will get you the referral that you need. We'll point you in the right direction and in a timely fashion.
What do you treat there? I know we're talking about heart issues, and we'll probably talk about stroke in a couple of minutes. But what else do you treat at Optum?
Everything. Is that an answer?
I love it.
It's everything.
Is good.
Everything. So from sexually transmitted infections all the way to heart attacks, and in between with kidney disease, end-stage renal disease, chronic kidney disease, COPD, asthma, skin conditions, osteoarthritis of the knee, rotator cuff injuries. I mean, literally, as an internist and family practice, which some of my colleagues at the office are family practice, internal medicine and family practice, we take care of everything. Jack of all trades.
Absolutely. With 8 clinics, they're really, really easy to find a place where you can go to a convenient location. And I'm just going to do a quick plug. It's www.optum.com, or in Coral Gables, one can call 954-755-5505. I love it. All right, we're going to do a ventriloquist operation here. And there's a lot of information. So let's talk about stroke now. Like, what's the difference between stroke, heart attack, and what's the difference between that?
Good question. So a heart attack is a blockage of a blood vessel supplying the heart. A stroke is a blockage of a blood vessel supplying an area of the brain. You also have another type called hemorrhagic stroke, where it bleeds, and so instead of the blood going into the vessel, it's now come out of the vessel. It's not flowing to the brain, so it dies anyway. So both of these, the underlying problem is atherosclerosis, or blockages of the blood vessels.
So that's a big word. That's
Yeah.
Okay, that's a short. Okay. Yep. So you have to really be careful. And is it the same warning signs of a stroke?
A stroke is a little different. A little different. Facial drooping, slurred speech, weakness of an arm or a leg. Those are the number one signs to look out for. Unfortunately, a lot of strokes happen in your sleep. So if
Why is that?
Good question.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure.
Let's look up Wikipedia.
Yeah, we'll check it out.
We'll be right back
Maybe
with
not
you.
Wikipedia, but we'll check it out.
But they don't know why.
No, not sure why it happens mostly at night when you're asleep. But let's say grandma's in the kitchen making eggs and all of a sudden the pan drops from the right hand and you look at her and her face is a little twisted, or she's trying to say something and it's somewhat slurred, then we need to call 911 right away. And also, if you notice that grandma has just woken up from sleep and she's not coherent or she's not speaking to you properly, slurred speech, definitely call 911 right away.
And that could happen to young people too. It doesn't have to be grandma, right?
It can, unfortunately. Not commonly, but it can.
Absolutely. And so how do you prepare for yourself every morning? How do you like wake up out of bed and go, I'm just so excited for the day to be a doctor? And what?
Motivation.
Yeah, tell me about that.
The motivation comes from knowing that you're helping other people. Altruism is the greatest source of joy, right? So giving to others is the only way you can really be happy in yourself. You could be the richest man in the world. If you did it by taking from other people, you're going to have a hard time sleeping at night. It goes back to that conversation I told you I had with my father. Having a job where you help people, I believe, is one of the most important ways to be happy.
And you have a couple of kids.
I have two. Not a couple, just two.
That's
No
a couple.
more.
Two is a couple.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
I'm
right.
sorry, you're the doctor, but I'm like the wordsmith here.
Two, just two.
Okay, you have two kids. What lessons do you want them to learn from you? Like you learned from your dad. I mean, that was major heavy. That was like life changing.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want them to know about you to remember you for?
Well, what I want them to know
I
for
mean, you're
sure.
a young guy. I hope you live
Yeah.
like to 120. But what is it that?
It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. I think that's something to live by and to follow. That although you want to feel like you're someone special, and it's good because you are, each of us as an individual, we're special, but it's more important to be nice than it is to feel important. So it's nice to be important, but more important to be nice.
Absolutely. Final thoughts you want to just leave your audience with about Optum, about you, and about the organization that's just up and growing and so there for your prevention and wellness and getting you back on track to be a whole, happy, healthy human being.
Yes, my final thought, and the most important thing I'm going to say, is no matter what your age is, there are silent issues, in particular the big three: cholesterol, diabetes, and high blood pressure. They're silent, and seeing a doctor before you have a problem. Preventative medicine. They say prevention is better than cure. Coming in early.
What's early?
Get
Like when I'm 20 or when I'm
18.
Or I'm just 18. 18 years old.
Yes, come in and get checked out, please. And if you're under 18, make sure you're seeing your pediatrician. But it's real important that we get our routine, regular checkups. The dentist can command that we come in twice a year for our dental health. So please come see a doctor at least twice a year. Get your blood work done. Get a checkup done. If you're super healthy, we might say once a year. But there are certain things that we just don't know if it's happening unless we check. Absolutely.
Well, Dr. Collie, thank you so much,
Thank you.
Many blessings, and continue your great work within the community at Optum and in Coral Springs. You can come visit Dr. Collie or visit their other 7 locations throughout Miami-Dade and Broward County. Thank you again.
Thank you so much for
Many
having
blessings
me.
to you and your
Yes,
family as
thank
the boys or girls grow up.
One boy, one girl.
One girl and one boy. He does have 2.
The perfect pair.
And I'm Fara Sax. Thank you so much for joining the Community Voice. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.